is up, y'all, and welcome to Debate Me Brah, Atheist Vs Presuppositionalist, where tonight we are having skeptic atheism and Christian apologetics go head-to-head. So won't you join YouTuber Ultimated Judeo-Christian and our own James W. for some presumable fun. Wahaha. What is up, everyone out there on the interwebs? Please don't forget to follow at twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. I'll even send it out in there. And of course, at youtube.com/Amy Newman, which we are sending all the love out there into the internet chats. In fact, if you hit that bell icon and set it to all, you will get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams, or if you're on our Discord channel in the link below, you also could get that. That's right. Also Captive Desk, Purple Rhymes with Orange, what's up, James Wolfe, Spooky Ben Hair, The Sinister Porpoise. We have YouTubers in chat. We have davegar, what is up? So much love, davegar, and everybody. And you can also, that's right, you can also during what's up, Manasoro? During the debate, what's up, Caterpillar? In fact, you can say hello to, and we'll keep on saying hi to you, but you can tag us for the Q&A section at the end of the debate, or you can get your super chat sent to the top of the list and help support the channel. But we're also going to send love to all of our channel members who can be found in the link below in the description, and you get our evolving badge system. Do you do debates on Evolution Ultimated?
Theologically, yes.
All right. Oh, see, we may have to have some of those up. And so, yes, go check out our evolving badge system, sending love. Also, one more thing on just all of our members. Mark gave me a fantastic idea. Speaking of which, the best idea he did. One of the best ways to help support the channel is becoming a Patreon at our Patreon at Clickety Clack. I need to do the thing that he said also. He sent me this update thing for a graphics card where you don't hear the clickety clacks anymore. But on our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, exactly, it filters it out. And so I am going to release the open mic that I went to. And so after it'll be a Patreon exclusive, and then eventually I'll just release it on the normal channel. But I feel like that should be the pipeline. Maybe continue to do a whole bunch of more fun stuff. I'm going back as many weeks as I can because I'm addicted again, as I should be. It feels great to go back up. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get to you guys. Also, sponsored by... We normally
That's right, Baron.
Money.
No, this is a private debate preacher. No, it's not a play date with the preacher. We can have one of those another day. Yeah, Amy got excited.
Yes, well, many of our format is open mic. We have also our call-in shows, but I very specifically am going to send love to You can feel the gears are turning. The shout-outs, including the lovely James Wolfe, we're shouting at the moon. The davegar, reminding us that the moon and the earth are round. Dale Pastel, we're just looking for a little bit of empirical evidence. Chris Disciple, reminding us the skeptic and ranted community has Christians, it has all sorts of religious people. We just need a little bit of doubt. Rachel Holen reminding us, reminding us that, you shouldn't be taking people from the nations around you. However, if you decide to go on a website and get a femboy consenting, that's okay.
Rentafemboy.com.
Rent-a-femboy, exactly. The pipeline, James, so thank you. And as well, our two biggest supporters sending so much love out there too. Regis reminding us we have a Skeptic Bible study out there. Go check it out. We're almost at 100. Woohoo! Need to throw a party once we do a Bible party, James. The fun stuff we have in store. As well as Ian Davenport. Thank you so very much, Ian. Reminding us that, we're looking creationists for you to bring your A game. I'm going to put on my blue steel. I like to be as fair as I can. Queen of sound bites.
Do you now?
Yes. Because sometimes I get, flack for can you be a decent moderator if you have a tip of the hat in a side one way or the other. And that is yes, because I have the priority becomes different. It becomes not whether my opinion is being represented. It's can people accurately hear what's going on, and because it shouldn't be up to me, it's up to the debaters. And I just want clean sound bites, and the audience should be able to. They are the true people to decide, James.
That's
anyway.
True. Nobody can handle the preacher, Perry. Nobody can handle you. You're too hot to handle.
At least after 2 shots of tequila, baby. Anyway, sending so much love to all of our supporters, all of our Patreons, channel members, super chatters, all subscribers, viewers, everybody out there, our brothers and sisters of the universe. And all right, enough of me blabbing. We are Debating Me Brah on Atheist versus Presuppositionalist. We are going to start with opening statements, and then after each side has that, we're going to move into open discussion for a good 40 to 50 minutes, and then the rest is going to be Q&A, the designated time, 30
We're
so
up to a week.
But it's up to that's right. But up to all of you out there, ask your hungering desire questions at James W. or at Amy Newman or by tagging me. With that, we are going to hand it over to YouTuber Ultimated Judeo-Christian. The floor is all yours.
Welcome back to the channel.
Thanks again. I will be under 30 seconds. So, awesomely / biblically, God's revealingly our opposite. Secondly, biblically, perfect being theology revealingly complements Genesis 1:1, entailing Judeo-Christianity. So that's my opening statement. I yield.
Thank you so very much, Ultimated, for your opening statement. And with that, we are going to move over to James. The floor is all yours.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Ultimated, Philip, good to have you back on the channel. We appreciate you giving your time to debate these important topics. So tonight we have atheism versus biblical presuppositionalism. I think the first question we should ask is, why are we here? Why do Christians need to argue for their existence of their God by appealing to presuppositions? Well, that's because the evidence supporting the existence of their God is so weak, they can't make good faith arguments based on evidence to justify their faith, which is why it's blind faith. They can't get there with evidence, so they resort to defining him into existence, which is what he says he's not doing, but it actually is what he's doing. He's trying to force him to exist based on words on paper or typed into a screen. So we're told we should presuppose the existence of their God, only their God. He asserts that he's real and only he's real. And when you ask for justification of that, you get a reworded version of the assertion, the very complicated, very ornate, overly complex way of saying he's real because he's real. And that's true because that's true. To that, I just say no. No. It's true that there are certain presuppositions we make in order to function, to reason. I would suggest these presuppositions should be the minimum that we need in order to function, to get by. After we make these base level minimum presuppositions, we have better tools at our disposal to ascertain reality. We can look at evidence and apply logic and reason to guide us to figure out what is real and what is not. And this is what happens when you have extraneous, unnecessary presuppositions like Philip is making. We have someone here who is intelligent. He's able to speak language, read and write. He has a degree of education. Yet his presuppositions lead him to a place where he believes the world is flat. Intelligent observers deduce the roundness of the earth for thousands of years. It's been absolutely confirmed by circumnavigation of the globe. And now we have tons of pictures from satellites, images, live video of the round earth. Yet they still deny that based on their presupposition that it must be flat because that's what the Bible says. And this is what unnecessary presupposition does. It poisons your ability to discern reality from fiction. It handicaps your reasoning powers unnecessarily. Words on paper typed into a screen are not going to cause something to exist that doesn't already exist. Endlessly asserting that he exists because he exists will not make him actually exist. You can't argue with reality. You cannot bully reality into conjuring a being into existence using complicated poetic language. He has to make these presuppositions. He has to begin with his God, because when we actually put claims of religion to the test, we put his Bible to the test. When the Bible is in the hot seat, it often fails. And taking the Ken Hovind route of just refusing to acknowledge its failure, just endlessly asserting that it didn't fail, that it's always right, won't change the reality of the situation. A universe with a God, especially a God like the Christian God, would be different from the universe we observe. Again, that's just reality. As an atheist, I see no valid reason to presuppose the existence of any deity. I see no pressing need for there to be a deity. I've yet to see any competent, substantial evidence to support the existence of any deity, which is why I'm an atheist. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, James W. And you, YouTuber Ultimated Judeo-Christian. With that, we are going to move into our open discussion. The floor is about to be both of you. I will also remind everyone to send your questions into me at James W. or Amy Newman. But with that, gentlemen, the floor is both of yours.
Okay, well, I can start by stating that my opener disproves my interlocutor's opener by definition, as God revealingly is our opposite. Agreed?
No. Not everything has an opposite. There's not. You can't say there's not leprechaun, therefore there must be leprechauns. Not everything is a true dichotomy. I would suggest the dichotomy here that we have is things that actually exist like us and things that don't actually exist like God.
You made a fallacious claim in regards to a dichotomy, as the dichotomy is concrete of A and not A. So when you referenced leprechauns or a unicorn, I'm referencing ultimate C to temporalities as the dichotomy, ontologically, revealingly, biblically.
We have no reason to think that whatever the ultimate level of reality is, whatever the ultimate foundation of it is, a mind, a deity. I admit that there's something, there obviously is something beyond that we don't have all the information on. We don't know exactly what it is. We don't know what that even means. But to just presuppose that it's a deity with a mind, I don't see any reason to do that.
To me, the majority of your response was fallacious, as the opposite to an ultimate fact would be temporalities, revealingly. Therefore, we have to be revealed of ultimate C to identify our creatureliness, dichotomously, revealingly, biblically. Agreed?
Well, no, you see, use the word creature to assert, and it's an assertion that we're a creation. So I would say all the evidence we have is that we're naturally occurring. We're not creatures in the sense that we were created. We evolved through natural processes, which is, by the way, all we ever see. We've never seen anything happen through any other process other than natural. We have no evidence of anything other than the natural world existing.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious, because temporalities can't be standalone. They must be in causal relations to non-finiteness, aka God, as the preconditioner for creaturely intelligibility, dichotomously, revealingly, biblically. Agreed?
So is there, let me try to unpack that. So is there something beyond what we have the ability to perceive? Is there something that is foundational or fundamental to reality that we don't know yet? There may very well be. There almost certainly is. What that is, though, we don't know. And to just assert that it's a God, and we don't have any evidence for that, it's just an assertion. When the appropriate response is, we just don't know.
I think you asked a contradictory question along with making fallacious claims to me, because you know God exists, as God out of love would reveal himself to everybody so that no one is without excuse, on the assumption that you are a human. So I don't know if you're a human. That's why I make that assumption. Agreed?
Well, I appreciate that assumption. I too, Philip, assume that you are a human, even though I have less evidence to justify that than you have to justify me. But I think we're both satisfied we're both humans. I don't think you're an AI bot. If you are, then whoever programmed you did a really good job. But I'm satisfied that you're most likely human. But to just assert then that if I'm a human, I have certain knowledge. Well, again, that goes back to your whole, where you go off the track is you just assert something, and then your evidence of the assertion is to just reassert it. Because you just know. But that doesn't get us anywhere.
I'm not asserting what I said earlier, as God, by definition, is an ultimate fact. So we have to be revealed who God is to identify temporalities. As in order to be identified as a human, we have to be in causal relations to our Heavenly Father, God, complementing a closed dichotomy. There isn't a third concrete option. Agreed?
Well, the option is the reality that we witness is that we're just humans on this earth, and we have no evidence for a God. If you just want to take whatever beyond this reality or outside of it, whatever caused this reality to exist, if you just want to call that God, even though we don't know what it is, you're just going to call that God. That's, I guess, maybe a pantheistic approach to that. you're welcome to do that, but where you go off the rails is when you start making further claims about it, religion specific claims, which is why we have dozens of active religions being practiced. We have thousands of human religions that have been practiced all throughout the course of humanity, all disagreeing. And so you're just asserting that everybody has this knowledge, but you have no way to demonstrate that other than to reassert it.
To me, you're losing debate points because I've justified why I'm not making an assertion in regards to God's concrete attributes as the necessary precondition for creaturely intelligibility, as the pronoun I finitely, revealingly presupposes ultimate C, aka God, complementing a closed dichotomy of A and not A. Circular reasoning. We have to have an authority. Because you are not God, you are finite, biblically. Agreed?
We're all finite, but I mean, honestly, this whole nonsense with the I presupposes God. I thought Amy had smacked you around with that last time in your debate with her, that the use of the word I in no way implies a God. You're referring to yourself. And I'm making the bold assertion that we can exist regardless of whether there's a God or not. That whatever fundamental cause the universe has may or may not be a God, but you haven't demonstrated that it is a God. Again, you're just asserting that it is with no evidence to back that up. I get it. That's what you like. You want that to be true, but we just don't have any reason to believe that it's actually true. And you don't have any authority to pronounce what is or is not true, just based on your desires.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious because
I bet.
temporality.
Continue.
Yes?
No, continue.
Temporalities can't be standalone. They have to be in causal reference to ultimate C mindfully, as to be ultimate requires a mindful absoluteness, agelessness, and all powerfulness, and revelatory. Because if we are not being given divine revelation, there would be no knowledge of anything. Because by definition, in order to be classified as a human, we have to have a heavenly father, aka God. Biblically. Agreed?
Biblically, yeah, of course. No, of course not. We can be humans regardless of whether there's a God or not. Humans refers to our biological species. We are members of the species Homo sapien, the subclass sapien. Um, Nothing to do with a God in there. Again, you're just choosing to call the ultimate, whatever the ultimate nature of the universe is, a God. But you're just asserting that. You don't have any evidence for that. And you're conflating the concept of knowledge with absolute knowledge. I would admit that we don't claim that we have absolute perfect knowledge of literally anything. All of our knowledge that we have is subject to the use of our reasoning and our senses, which are not infallible. But we do the best that we can. We don't have to have ultimate knowledge. That's the concept of fallibilism, which I'm sure you're familiar with. We are fallible, yet we can still get a pretty good idea of what's going on in the universe, even though we admit we don't have absolute knowledge of literally anything. If you ask me, how sure am I that the world is round, I'm absolutely sure. But if you percentized it out, I guess it would be 99.9, a million nines. But I would never say that I have absolute knowledge that is perfect, because I just don't.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious because, again, awesomely / biblically, God revealingly our opposite. So we have to have an authority. You reference fallibilism. We have to revealingly presuppose an infallible God to know humans are fallible. So I think you're contradicting yourself.
We don't. That's the whole thing. No, we don't have to, because we don't. I don't. Amy doesn't. All the other atheists, we don't make that presupposition, and yet we are firmly and easily able to come to the conclusion that we're fallible. We don't have to presuppose that there is something infallible.
To me,
let
your
alone
response
that it
is
would be your
just
God.
To me, your response is just a fallacious claim that you can't justify.
Well,
Agreed?
It's a response to a claim that to an assertion that you're just making without any basis. It's just an assertion based on another assertion.
It's not an assertion, and for you to identify assertions, you have to revealingly presuppose ultimate C.
I don't. Why do I have to presuppose ultimacy to recognize an assertion?
I think you asked a contradictory question, because you would know ultimate C is the necessary precondition for creaturely intelligibility. So not only
why
do
would I have
think
to presuppose God to recognize an assertion as an assertion?
God is ultimate truth, revealingly, biblically.
Okay, that's your claim. You have presented no evidence of that. You just, I get that you believe that you like making that claim, but do you have any evidence of that claim?
I think you asked a contradictory question, because
Most likely.
I didn't present a claim. I presented a closed dichotomy of an ultimate fact in causal relations to finite facts. We can't,
So you're calling your claim a closed dichotomy, but it's still a claim. It's still an assertion, right?
No, it's a closed system, a closed dichotomy of A and not A. So the opposite to creation would be a singular creator. And to be singular defaultly requires free will, not subject to parts, entailing absoluteness, agelessness, and all-powerfulness. As to be ageless requires omnipotence, not subject to death / entropy. And this is who we call God, an absolute, eternal, all-powerful mind.
So there you go. You just asserted as the premise that we are a creation, that anything is a creation requiring a creator. I admit, if the universe is created in that sense, it would require a creator, but I think it's just naturally occurring. I don't think it's created by any force with a mind, with no intent. There seems to be no discernible intent for the universe existing. It just seems to exist. It just seems to be random stuff happening. No rhyme or reason or intent to any of it.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious, because distinctions revealingly presupposes a singular creator, not subject to an infinite regression of causal affairs, because a set of things would have to be secured by a mindful ultimate C that is not subject to gaps or external forces.
No thigh gaps. Yep. No thigh gaps. So. Damn.
No, did you say no side gaps?
No thigh gaps?
Side gaps?
Thigh? Like like chicken thighs, like chicken wings.
I'm not sure what you mean by thigh gaps.
Thigh gap. Look at it. Google it. Google it sometime. Thigh gaps. Yeah, very very important thing. It's actually maybe more of an ultimacy than your God. But see, here's once again like what I was saying before. This is where you are trying to like bully reality into making your God exist using your version of logic that you think you're going to force reality to say, okay, fine, your God can exist, fine. You can have your imaginary friend, your imaginary boyfriend, you can have him. But you can't bully reality because it just doesn't care. It doesn't care what you think, I think, anybody thinks. It just is what it is.
To me, I want to address two fallacious points out of you. The noun reality presupposes the proper noun God. Therefore, we are in
Does it?
God's reality.
How does it presuppose God?
Because reality would be synonymous with non-finiteness. Therefore, we are in God's reality.
Reality is just the state of being, whether it's finite or not finite. It makes no reference to infiniteness or finiteness.
It does, because for you to know you are having finite experiences, you have to reference non-finiteness as the preconditioner. Therefore, we are in...
I don't absolutely know that I'm having finiteness. That's what my senses tell me, but I don't claim absolute knowledge of that.
I think you just contradicted yourself because you're putting down the pronoun I as a finite fact with reference to an ultimate fact, aka God, complementing a closed dichotomy, a circular dichotomy, referentialism.
Circular
One has
reasoning,
to...
you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So you're okay with your reasoning being circular. You like that idea, or that you like circular reason.
Love circular reasoning.
Which you'll know that most people, you may be interested to hear, most people consider circular reasoning to be, what's that word? A fallacy. A fallacy. Yeah, circular reasoning to be a fallacy.
To me, that's just a fallacious claim. So I've justified circular reasoning with a closed dichotomy of A and not A. It's like two sides of a coin. The heads complements the tails. You have to reference one to know the other. That same logic applies to humans. For us to know we are finite, we have to revealingly presuppose ultimate C as an authority biblically. Agreed?
Well, once again, we are fine with conceding that there could be some fundamental level of reality beyond what we have the ability to perceive. Yeah, sure, definitely could be. We just don't know. And where you're going off the rails is when you assert that the answer to that I don't know, and you start giving information about that you don't actually know. You don't actually know that, and you're asserting that you do. You're taking your preferred answer to that conundrum, that gap in our knowledge, and asserting it as reality, as that it fills that gap in our knowledge, and you just don't have the ability to do that. It's fallacious, is what I'm saying.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious, as you are revealingly presupposing God as an ultimate authority for the pronoun I to be intelligible creaturely. You can't escape this dichotomy.
Phil, if you make
Biblically.
that argument one more time, then I'm going to have to ask Amy to discipline you, because she smacked you around about that last time really bad. I didn't expect you to use that argument again. The use of the word I in no way makes reference to a God. It makes reference to us. That has nothing to do with a God. Whether there's a God or not, the word I is absolutely indifferent.
I think you just appeal to vicious circularity, because finite things can't reference more finite things. You have
Yeah, they
to
can.
start.
We have
That's just
no
a fallacious
we have no
claim.
access to anything that's not finite. Everything that we have the ability to interact with is finite. That's all we have, man. We don't have access to anything else. It is what it is. You can assert that there is something infinite. We just don't. You have to present evidence to support that. You haven't done that. You haven't made a good case as to why we should just presuppose it.
The invisible attributes of said ultimate C is the evidence. So knowledge of anything is evidence from an eternal, omniscient source as ultimate truth. So we know God exists through his self-disclosure of himself to be ultimate C and the preconditioner for creaturely intelligibility, biblically revealingly. Agreed?
So are you saying that there can be nothing can be said that is wrong or incorrect? Can there be information that is wrong? If I were to tell you something, that the sky is red with pink dots, would that be right or wrong?
That can be both. So for you to
Uh,
identify contradictions, you would have to revealingly presuppose ultimate truth, aka God, as
okay,
he
so
grant.
if I were to say um, Australia is overrun by 30-foot tall kangaroos, they're all over the place, would that be true or false? Have you ever
I
seen
think
a
you are
30-foot tall kangaroo in Australia?
I think you're asking an informal question to a semi-formal debate, because you're
Maybe.
revealing.
But can you just answer the informal question for the semi-formal debate? Uh, uh, Humor me, Ultimated. Humor me. Do you have 30-foot tall kangaroos hopping around out there in Australia?
Sorry, I can't address your question, as Proverbs 26:4-5 states, don't answer a fool according to his foolishness, or you'll be like him yourself. 5, answer a fool according to his foolishness, or he'll become wise in his own eyes. So I
So,
don't want to address your informal question, so I have to point out your informal fallacy. So you
okay.
are
So it is people can assert things that are not true, and that doesn't make reference to a god, because as you clearly know, there are not 30-foot tall kangaroos in Australia. The sky is not red with pink dots. Um, all these things cannot be true without making reference to a god. Um, your god can also not be real, just like the 30-foot tall kangaroos, just like um, anything else that you can conjure up cannot be real. Your God can also fit into that category. The dichotomy is real in reality versus not in reality. I would say that we are in reality, your God is not in reality.
To me, that's just a fallacious claim
My bad.
recently, because your opposite ontologically is ultimate C, and only a mind can be ultimate due to free will. not being subjected to parts. If you fallaciously reject that, you have to assert a trichotomy of a mindless ultimate C or default absolute nothingness. A mindless ultimate C can't change itself without free will, and default absolute nothingness has no causality for the brute contingency of instant creation, as absoluteness is a prerequisite for creaturely intelligibility. Therefore, it is impossible for something absolute to spawn causelessly at all places at the same time. So, to me, you have been contradicting.
We just don't know, Phil. That's the thing. We just don't know. Maybe the universe is cyclical. Maybe there's a multiverse. Maybe black holes spawn new universes. Maybe we're inside a black hole in a higher dimensional universe. There's all kinds of options and things that we just don't have the ability to test right now. So we just don't know. And by the way, there are physicists working on trying to figure these things out in the laboratory, and that's where the answers will come when we find answers. But for you to just run into the laboratory and say, stop everything, you all can go home now, because I actually know, because an old book told me, well, I mean, I don't consider that to be a very good line of reasoning. You may think that's ultimate truth and that you're doing the Lord's work, but the rest of us, we don't see that. We don't get it.
To me, you're just making a whole bunch of baseless claims, because even if you assert a multiverse, there would be an ultimate C that governs all things. This is why I'm sticking to the dichotomy of ultimate C and temporalities. I think you're alluding to an infinite regression again, but that's fallacious.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. No, it's not fallacious. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with infinite regress.
It's a contradiction in terms,
No,
because the adjective, yes, it is, because the adjective infinite is a contingent C, as something finite can expand infinitely. This is why I'm precise when using the word ultimate C or infiniteness, default infinity, infinitudinous. So you can't have a set of temporalities without inferring spatial gaps, which would further entail gaps, spatial gaps, voids, etc.
Okay.
In between that gap,
keep thigh gaps, because those are really important.
In between that gap of the fallacious asserted infinite regression would be an absolute particular, singular particular, and only a mind can be singular defaultly. So outside of this universe, it would be absolute contingent darkness. God would reside in a different dimension defaultly, where he created this universe. So we have to start metaphysically as a default presupposition with revealed singular ultimate C as creation follows. Biblically, agreed?
Biblically, yeah. I mean, that's a really cool story. I mean, maybe you could make a good sci-fi movie out of it. We just don't have any reason to think it's part of reality. You know, I mean, hey, if you want to write a script out and sell it, maybe some jackass like Quentin Tarantino will make a movie about it. But yeah, we just don't have any reason to believe it's real. Doesn't comport to this reality anyway.
To me, you're just making more baseless claims, and I've already addressed your response of the noun reality, as it has to presuppose the proper noun God, because reality is synonymous with non-finiteness, as that's evidence dichotomously. It is.
Reality is just the state of being. It is the state of being that of the universe. That's it. Doesn't refer to anything beyond the universe, anything we don't know about, have no access to, hypothetical, imaginary, presupposed things that we have no way to corroborate, no way to falsify, no way to prove.
To me, you're just making more baseless claims, as when you are referencing reality, you are presupposing ontological beings. And again, dichotomously, ultimacy and temporalities, to paraphrase, are the only two beings that can exist. There's no third concrete option here.
Are you
God,
familiar with Christopher Hitchens?
I've heard that name before. Yeah, little, like maybe 0.5 out of 10.
Okay, so yeah, you should probably read up on him a little bit. But so I'm allowed to answer your baseless claims with baseless claims because, according to Hitchens, that which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. You give me baseless claims, I can give you baseless claims. That's it. But you still haven't demonstrated anything, so I don't need to refute it, what you haven't demonstrated.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious because I have verbally presented evidence of God's immaterialness as the preconditioner for facts. So we don't have to see God to know that he exists, as he has revealed his invisible attributes to us. So
You've
again,
asserted that and once again you've asserted that again. But what I'm asking is, do you have anything to substantiate that is not just another assertion?
to me, that's just an assertion, as I presented an ultimate fact.
You asserted that your assertion was an ultimate fact, which is a double assertion, as you know, which ties into your circular reasoning and is the thigh gap fallacy that you keep going back to. But yeah, you're making an assertion and then asserting it as an ultimate fact.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious because I can't, out of nothing, assert an ultimate fact. An ultimate fact, by definition, would be mindfully absolute, ageless, and revelatory. So we have to be revealed of said ultimate fact to identify finite facts. So I think
haven't presented an ultimate fact. You've asserted that you have one, but you've given no basis for that.
By definition, I can't assert an ultimate fact. An ultimate
you don't
fact
have one.
just...
You're just asserting that it is. You're assuming it's an ultimate fact because you say it is.
I'm not, because my finiteness is in causal relations to said ultimate fact. A is A. God is an ultimate fact, and vice versa. Ageless and revelatory. So I can't, out of nothing, conceptualize without referencing the concreteness of said ultimate fact. So to me, you're just making more fallacious points.
You can just be wrong, because as we already went over, people are capable of being wrong. Based on your logic, anything that you say must be true because it's referencing God, an ultimate fact. But you can say things that aren't true. I can say things that aren't true. Even, believe it or not, Amy can say something that's not true once in a while. So we are capable of being wrong. And how does that work in relation to God? Because if he's the ultimate fact and he is ultimate truth, well, guess what? We can be wrong. There can be things in his reality that are wrong, that should break him, that should literally he should be going into the corner crying because we could be wrong in his reality.
God doesn't lie, so I can't be wrong by saying that God is an ultimate fact.
Can you tell a lie?
God can lie, but he chooses not to.
Can you lie?
Yes, but I choose not to.
Well, okay, I mean, everybody who lies asserts that they're not lying, so we have no way to substantiate that. So how do we know you're not lying when you assert God as an ultimate fact?
I
Maybe you
think
made
that's
that
a
up.
contradictory. Can you repeat that last question? There were
How
two
do we
questions, I
know
think.
that you're being truthful when you assert God as an ultimate fact? Because you already said you're capable of lying. How do we know you're being truthful?
To me, that was a philosophical gish gallop of 3 points. So, what question do you want me to answer?
How do we know you're telling the truth when you assert God as an ultimate fact?
I think that's a contradictory question because I'm not asserting God into existence. If you want to verify that I'm not a liar, then you would have to reach out to God or you would have to obtain this knowledge yourself without appealing to somebody else for you to know this, not
Well,
as a matter of belief.
that's what we've tried to do. That's actually, believe it or not, that's the reason why me and Amy do the show, because we are asking for people to give us reasons, to give us evidence, to tell us why we should believe in any God's existence. And we invite believers to come on the show all the time to give their reasons. We listen to it, and what we're just saying is we just haven't heard anything convincing, anything persuasive that leads us to believe that their God or any God is likely to be true. So I don't think you're lying when you say you believe in this God, but people can assert things that are lies. And if God is ultimate truth and you appeal to God as the foundation of your reality, then, well, how can you do that? Because people can lie. There are untruths in the world, in his universe, if it is his. And so you can't appeal to him to back a claim, because there are false claims in the universe.
Made a claim against me again, as I
Okay.
know the God of the.
I know
Yes.
that you believe that. I'm sure that you do, but what I'm saying is you don't have any valid logical reasons to believe that. Maybe you have anecdotal reasons. Maybe the things that God has revealed to you privately in your relationship with him. Maybe you have those things to look to, but um, nobody else but you have access to that. So it's not really going to be convincing to anybody else.
I think he just asked a contradictory question because God's invisible attributes is the evidence, as we have to reference him to identify temporalities dichotomously. So I know this as a fact, as you would too, on the assumption that you are a human. So again, God definitionally is an ultimate fact and
Right.
preconditions temporalities.
We're assuming, of course, that you are not an AI bot, that you are a human. I take you at your word for that you are real. And so I hope that you'll accept my claim to be a human too.
Yes.
But yeah, we don't have to reference God to know anything, to know any of that. It has nothing to do with our knowledge. We can have reasonable yet imperfect knowledge without referencing to a God. We can know things to reasonable degrees of certainty without reference to a God. We're not claiming absolute knowledge or perfect knowledge, ultimate knowledge. We don't have access to that, whatever it is. If it exists out there, we don't have access to it because we are fallible, flawed beings. Our senses can be fooled. Our powers of reasoning can be wrong. And none of us are totally subjective or objective. We are all, at least to some degree, subjective. So we can all be wrong. I would assert that you can be wrong too. I think you know you can be wrong, but you really, really want this to be true. But once again, that does not make it true, no matter how much you want it to be true.
To me, the majority of your response is fallacious because you are revealingly presupposing God, even though you're fallaciously claiming or arguing against him because of the pronoun I being finite in causal
All right.
relations.
Listen, I warned you last time. Amy will have to discipline you if you keep doing that. I don't think you want to risk that. So please stop making that argument in reference to the word I. It does not make reference to a God, any God. This makes reference to you existing as a being. So I say I exist. When you say I, you exist. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything else.
I'm giving you the correct answer. So I
Give
think
it.
you're appealing to it. Again, the pronoun I, from a creaturely perspective, has to be in causal reference to ultimate seer. We can't appeal to ourselves as finite beings. That's vicious circularity. We have to
But
reference
you like
God.
circularity. You like circularity, so what's wrong with being circular?
There's nothing wrong with circularity in my case, but you're, I would say, appealing to vicious circularity because we can't ground ourselves. We have to reference our opposite, ultimate C, as a circular presupposition, revealingly.
But we're not
So, like it
saying
or
we
not,
ground. We're not saying we ground ourselves in anything absolute or infinite. We're admitting, we're conceding that what we ground ourselves in is imperfect and flawed. It's just the best that we do. It's just all we have access to. Maybe in the future, if we learn more, if we have access to better ways of reasoning, maybe we can claim ultimate knowledge, but we just can't, are not anywhere near that stage right now. Doesn't mean we don't know anything. It just means we have to admit that we could be wrong. I admit that I could be wrong. You don't admit that you can be wrong, and that's the problem here.
to me, the majority of your response is fallacious because, again, like it or not, you are putting down the pronoun I as a. This is zeroth order logic. You have to address the pronoun I as a finite fact in causal reference to an ultimate fact. Finite things can't ground themselves. That's vicious circularity. Therefore, we revealingly reference God as our ultimate authority. I've justified why a mind is necessary to be ultimate, ontotheologically with free will. Therefore, God revealingly exists biblically.
Biblically,
Agree?
yeah, but biblically, yes, but not realitily, not as part of reality. And as I warned you several times, you keep making that reference to the I, making reference to God. You keep doing it. So if Amy comes and puts the fuzzy handcuffs on you, don't say that I didn't warn you, because I did several times. And yeah, I don't think that's where you want to end up. So steer clear of that one, because she resoundingly refuted that last time. I did not think we would have to keep addressing that, but here we are. I guess. You ever been wrong about anything, Ultimated?
I would say so, but back to the semi-formal debate, there are 2 points I want to address here. Again, this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time. The noun reality. The noun reality is synonymous with non-finiteness. Therefore, we are in God's reality. If you're using the abstraction of reality, you have to reference something concrete. Abstractions can't be standalone.
Okay, so you say that, I say no. How do we determine who's right? How do we determine which is correct?
Because I'm referencing mindful ultimate C, as you did too with the pronoun I. Like it or not, that's the correct answer.
And I'm saying I did not reference ultimacy, and you're saying yes. How do we determine who's right?
Because ultimate C is the opposite to temporalities. So when I reference
how do we know
pronoun,
that what is ultimacy?
Divine revelation, biblically.
How can we demonstrate that?
Through the predication of the pronoun I, we have to start metaphysically with God for the pronoun I finitely to be intelligible. It's called
You're going back. You're going back. I said, how do you say that? I say no. How do we determine who's right?
I'm right in this semi-formal debate because
you say you're right. I say I'm right. How do we determine who is actually right? How can somebody else watching determine which of us is actually right when we're both asserting the opposite?
I think you asked a contradictory question because I'm not asserting.
Oh. You're claiming.
I'm not asserting.
You made the statement.
Yes, I made a statement that the pronoun I finitely has to have an ultimate authority. We can't appeal to finite by definition and the impossibility of the contrary, biblically, revealingly, dichotomously.
Okay, so
agreed?
That's just an assertion.
It's an ultimate fact. So you made a fallacious assertion.
As an
you're roboting there hard. Can you start from the start?
You're making an assertion and asserting that it's an ultimate fact. That's a double assertion, or if you will, a formal assertion sandwich. So you're making an assertion, then just asserting that it's an ultimate fact. How do we know it's actually true?
Because abstract contradictions would reference concrete truth. So I can't fallaciously assert an ultimate fact, as I have to start with a concrete ultimacy as a default presupposition. So
you can't be wrong. Once again, we're back to saying you can't be wrong because anything you assert is an ultimate fact because it's backed up by God.
Again, I'm presenting an ultimate fact, not just a baseless assertion. So, by definition, God revealingly exists. And preconditions,
define him into existence.
And I will say, guys, we're going to go for about 5 more minutes. So if you both have a burning desire question, now's the time to do it. But at the end of that, I will let you each have a closing statement. And remember, everyone, we will also have a Q&A section upcoming. Please send your questions to James W. or myself at Amy Newman. And also send super chats in because they get priority read and help support the channel. But I do want to thank both of our interlocutors. James, unfortunately, has a contract with this channel along with Gilbert Godfrey for the next 8 trillion years. However, thank you so very much, YouTuber. You also said you were good with calling Philip, so we're here to be all friends and amazing. But right back to you guys, the last 5 minutes. Open discussion.
Yeah, so in this semi-formal debate, my ultimate fact of God still remains outstanding against you. You keep making fallacious assertions, but I'm
told you I
making
brought all
assertions.
my fallacies with me tonight, so I told you to be prepared. Full of fallacies, FOF.
To me, you've maybe made around maybe 50 fallacious points.
At least only 50. Wow. I was hoping for more, but okay. All right. Well, hey. But you've continued to make the same assertions you always make. You continue to just assert that they're true because you assert that they're true. And the reason for that is because they're true, which is circular, but you said you're fine with that. You love circular reasoning, which I think most people would recognize as a fallacy, but I accept that, it's all you've got. You don't have anything else, so you've got to go with what you've got. And if what you got is circular reasoning, but I will commend you though. You are making the most of it. You are at least you're doing the best that you can to make this circular reasoning sound like more than what it is. I just think with your skills and talents, I think you could put that to better use.
You're roboting. You're roboting. Can you repeat that last 5 seconds?
I just say I think you could put your skills and your talents and your knowledge to better use than to try to, defend this circular claim that you're making. But hey, if it's your passion, it's what you want to do. Hey, do it. But I think you could do more.
It's not a circular claim, as I'm referencing the laws of logic, as they too are circular. A is A and not A. A cannot equal its negation. So you're
stretching those laws. You're stretching beyond the breaking point to justify your claims. So you're just taking it to a place where they can't get you. And I know you wanted to get to there. They just don't. You ran out of gas.
You're still roboting.
You ran out of gas a long time ago. You don't have enough gas to get where you're going. With the laws of logic.
God's prescribed laws of logic, as he would be. No, it's a default monochotomy preconditioning dichotomies. So God definitionally is an ultimate fact, complementing creation. God's prescribed.
Humans develop them. They're just human observations for how things seem to work, how reality seems to function. They're not complete. We will probably find more, but they seem to do a good enough job right now helping us navigate through the world we find ourselves in. Wouldn't you agree?
Can you repeat that question or make it shorter?
The laws of logic seem to do a pretty good job helping us navigate the world we find ourselves in.
yes, God's prescribed laws of logic. As humans, for them to describe other things would have to start with the pronoun I being finite in causal relations to ultimate C, aka God, dichotomously, revealingly, biblically. Agreed?
I lost you at biblically, but I think he's trying to
And all right.
put us off the page.
No, I enjoyed the back and forth. Like I said, I thought it was a lot of fun. However, we are going to move into the Q&A, where anyone can send us questions for either one or both of our interlocutors. You can also send us... I guess it's Gizmo sitting around with a cigar producing. But you can also send us super chats, which not only help the channel, but they get yours sent to the beginning priority. English words, ladies and gentlemen, with a 222 super chat. Ember sending so much love. You should all. I was supposed to send a shout out yesterday, but I'm doing it now. Post shout out. As I hold on, air. Air, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the Mel Brooks Spaceballs. But yes, you should be checking out the modern day debate of Ember and Mark Reid, who just went up against two flat earthers yesterday. And I imagine it was good in whatever time zone that you're in, which they don't believe it. Anyway,
by default.
Indeed. Who would win? A all-powerful Omniboy or 3 nails? I think this might be aimed at you, Ultimated. What do you think?
I'll have to look up what an Omniboy is.
Yes, I would say a boy is kind of like when you're looking at him over there, but like, you know,
effeminate maybe.
How about just like an all-powerful being on one side and then 3 nails over here?
I don't know if he's familiar with the term femboy. I don't know. Are you familiar with that term, Ultimated?
I've forgotten what that means.
Femboy? Oh,
wait till the after party. We can remind everyone.
Google it after you Google thigh gap.
I have Googled thigh gap and I got pictures of thighs. The gap.
Did you like it? You like what you see?
Unless it's God, then no.
God has a thigh gap.
Just because it's the Q&A section, does God have nice thighs?
God would be the most attractive being in all of actuality.
Yes. Okay. I want to be just had to get my Q&A in there too. Thank you so much, Ember.
Version of Jesus, like, what was he, Amy? He was like 6'3", ripped, muscles, long flowing hair.
Listen, it's the Messiah we didn't know that we needed, but it's the one we want. Anyway, Native Atheist, a big $10 super chat. Oh my lordy, he's sending love to us. We're sending love to him. I also have to just do a twirl because
thanks, Ember, too.
And thank you so much, Ember and Native Atheist, for sending a good show. Thanks to both of our interlocutors for joining us. But I think with that, and in fact, we're going to keep that up on there, keep on sending in all of the super chats if you would like. They help support the show, and they get you sent right to the top of the list. However, we just are sending love to our supporters and viewers out there. We're going into the Q&A, the first of which, and more than just save, the YouTubes has allowed us to humanity is convinced of many mythical type figures more powerful than your God, many predating the Bible. Why do they not require your presupposition of them first before God?
I think that's for you, Philip.
I think that's a contradictory question because there can only be one concrete God defaultly. If you're referencing God's epistemological knowledge, then I can grant you books prior to the Bible, but I don't know the exact dates the Bible was published, but it doesn't matter for my arguments to be validly sound because I'm appealing to the Bible for what it is today, starting with Genesis 1:1 being a perfect fact in relations to perfect being theology. I yield.
Thank you so very much, Ultimated, and for that question, Montesaro. The next is from Spooky. It messes. I don't know if I should show it because it messes up the graphics, but we're sending love. Says, have you Ultimated actually studied logic? If so, to what extent?
I have studied logic, yes, like sometimes 12 hours a day for months, years, if that's what the question is referring to.
Are you
Thank you.
familiar with the YouTuber the Preacher? Have you interacted with him?
I don't think so.
He is a Christian. He's a preacher, and he has said that he spends up to 18 hours a day reading the Bible and praying and meditating. And yeah.
Okay, I can believe that.
Thank you so very much, Spooky. Sending love and to our interlocutors. Another question from Montesaro. It is statistically more likely that our universe is a simulation. We have created simulations and thus can demonstrate they exist where no gods have been shown. Why not presuppose that?
What do you think, Ultimated? Are we in a simulation? Is this God's computer? Is God running a 386X?
I can grant you that we are in God's simulation. But if you're referencing a kid's basement of some sort, I've heard that argument before. Again, this is a dichotomous reality. God is necessary by definition for there to be a creation point. So I can grant you we are in God's simulation.
Oh, let me ask you this. So if we were on a simulation in an alien's computer, could God be just part of that alien program that gave him ultimate power over the program? He's got God mode on, but he can do whatever he wants in that simulation.
Can you shorten that question? Because I think it's contradictory.
No. Could God be a coded into an alien simulation? Like let's say they wanted to say what would an omnipotent being do in a simulator, and so they just put a simulator, programmed an omnipotent being in there, and that would be God. He just did all this stuff, but he's really just a program in a computer. He just
God
thinks he's
out of
powerful.
God out of love wouldn't use that sort of style of creation. We are not, because we have free will firstly, and God created because we are made in the image of God, for he has free will.
Okay, so you're just asserting we have free will because you're asserting God has free will. That's that assertion sandwich we talked about before, remember?
think that's a contradictory question because
Probably
I
not.
presented an ultimate fact.
You labeled an assertion an ultimate fact. That's like a triple decker assertion sandwich. You want to add any more assertions to that sandwich? I think 3 is enough.
I think you asked another contradictory question because by definition, an ultimate fact just is. Can't assign an abstraction subjectively to objective truth. We have to be revealed objectivity to make subjectivity statements.
You don't have an absolute fact. You have an assertion you're choosing to label as ultimate fact. That's the issue. You can call it whatever you want, but it doesn't make it so.
To me, that's just a fallacious claim.
I bet.
And this goes back to the debate. But
Yep.
this is, I'm assuming we're concluded the debate, or
What's that?
unless you want to continue. I mean, I've got time to do this.
With the questions.
Oh no. Okay. I do have to say though that I did forget to give you guys your closing, and so maybe
We can do that at the end.
before like the or I guess once we're all concluded, because you said YouTuber, you actually have time, so I'll make sure. I normally like to do it before questions, but since we're not Russian,
this is informal debate.
I am Slavic, so a few of us are. What are we talking about anyway? $2 big super chat. Thank you so very much. Praise. I always get this wrong. Big Bad Mama.
BBC? Oh, BBM, not BBC.
I get that. Rachel and I get that confused a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, she wants to remind UGC Philip, you call God he and him. Why is God male?
Because of his alpha personality of being dominant, and he is referenced to be the alpha and the omega, so it's just based off his personality.
That was my second
He's the
guess.
big dog. He's the alpha.
Thank you so very much, Big Bad Mama, for that. Once again, we really want to get to the epistemological, ontological. I just want to thank her for the support, and we're sending that love all back.
Because he likes getting D's.
Don't we all? Moving forward. Purple rhymes with orange would like to know, why do we have to have an authority?
Because finite things can't be standalone. There would be an authority that governs all things without the fallacious reasoning of an infinite regression with gaps in between of distinctions. Spatial gaps, voids.
Phi gaps, they're spatial.
Yes, you can reference phi gaps too.
You got those?
I do a lot. Anyway,
do you have those fuzzy handcuffs in arm's reach, Amy? Don't tell me no. I'm sure you do.
The wonders I could grab behind this wall. From Dave Rogers, and thank you so much, Purple, and our interlocutor's response. For Philip, why don't you make an honest argument and stop pretending? Ooh, the spice is real.
They calling you out, Philip. Come on.
I think that's just a contradictory question because I'm speaking the truth by definition. With reference to divine revelation, I yield.
He might not even be a real human. You never know, right, Phil? He could be a non-human. I guess I don't know what that would be, but what is a non-human, Phil? Though, if there's people who are not human, what would they be?
Mindless.
Mindless.
Hence why I say I think a lot, because that questioner could be a robot and maybe ignorant or deceitful. That's why I say I think
A deceitful
that's a
robot.
contradictory question. Say that again.
A deceitful robot.
Yes, by a deceitful programmer.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you so very much. And moving forward, Amber would like to know, Philip, would you consider a career as an audiobook narrator? I think his tone and dictation would make him outstanding.
I don't know.
I hear blushing. I'm just teasing.
You could read like technical manuals in your voice, and they would pay you money for it.
It would have to be in regards to my YouTube channel about God, not something else.
Which you
could
can
read the
find
Bible.
in the description below.
Once again, I would say to go to his channel and tell what you think, but you can't. His comments are all disabled, so you'll just have to tell him here.
For good reasons, as it prevents people making inappropriate comments, as when I did have them open, and not just the comments, but the pictures. And this is actually advised by the terms and conditions on YouTube. It states, to paraphrase, the reason why some people have disabled comments is to protect viewership. And yeah.
Well, pictures, like you mean like their avatar, the user avatars were inappropriate?
Yes, I had that. I had that a lot.
Oh, okay.
Sending love out there. We are once again reminder to tag myself at Amy Newman with your question, or send in super chats. It'll send it straight to the front, as well as help support the channel. I think we only have a few more questions left, and then we'll let both these gentlemen have their closing statements. But I do want to thank everyone out there, as well as in the chatosphere. Question from the Sinister Porpoise. Question for you, Philip. Are all the mathematicians and the logicians in the world who disagree with him being fallacious?
Yes, as everyone has faith in God, because God has revealed himself to everybody so that no one is without excuse. But people suppress the truth more than others.
Thank you so much for that, Ultimated, and your question, Porpoise. Sending love out there. We have from
the fish.
Guitar is TA67. What's up, Guitar? If there was never a census in which people had to travel to their hometowns, Jesus was not born in Bethlehem. Therefore, no God. So I'll read that
to
again.
Me, that's.
Oh, did you get it?
Yeah, that's just a contradictory statement, because Jesus is true as it's in the Bible. During the times of Jesus' ministry, some people disagreed with him. But because it's in the Bible, Jesus is true. So we don't need a time machine to know Jesus is true.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ultimated, and thank you so very much, Guitar, for that question. And we have, I believe this is the last three, unless you get your burning desire question in now. From, I think I did have one or two more. Anyway, Ember asked, James, how do you stay so patient?
I don't know, Ember. It's a gift that I have. I think we've. It's not our first rodeo with Ultimated, so we kind of know what we're getting into. We know what we're going. We know what to expect from him, so it's fine. We know what we're getting ourselves into. So.
Not our first rodeo.
Not our
Send
first
in
rodeo.
love. Also, from Purple Rhymes with Orange says the banner block part of my didn't get to see your cute skirt. Hold on.
What do you think, Ultimated? Cute skirt?
Standalone, I can grant, but not on a male, I'm assuming.
Philip, you just got to think of it like a fashion model. It really doesn't matter what you got going on there. It's really about what's.
Yeah.
And just pretend I'm working for Macy's, which I once did. True story. Good time. Selling shoes. Anyway, thank you so very much, Purple, and everyone out there watching, and our interlocutors. We are still coming up on the back end. That's also what she said. Big Bad Mama's question. She's saying alpha qualities. That's it. In reference to why God is a male YouTuber?
Just an alpha, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most dominant personality would be the Alpha, the first.
But
That's just who God is. Yes, the first and the last.
And all right, thank you so very much.
The best and the worst.
I believe. Oh my! This may be, and this is. Unless there's another question, this is going to be. Oh, there another one came in or so. But this is a spicy one. Yeah, James and myself used to talk about this. In all honesty, even though we do love you, Philip, and we think I get fought both ways in this because I get convinced some days and some is other. Anyways, enough preambling. Philip, at several points in this, you could hear your voice crack as you almost laughed. What advice do you have for up-and-coming trolls to keep a straight face when poing?
Now, I give him credit because we really have to try hard to get him to break character. But he is really good at it, though. He really is good at it. But go ahead, Phil.
To me, that sounded like a loaded question because I'm not trolling. And even if my voice did crack, that doesn't mean that I'm trolling. So that just sounds like a loaded question.
It just means you have a sense of humor there, Phil. That's all it means, right?
Yes, but I'm not trolling in this debate.
In fairness, it's the chat that's making me laugh. I love our amazing, wonderful, best chat.
I take it as a compliment that I'm that funny, Phil. That you just can't help yourself.
And all right, moving forward, and I think we just have is Sinister the last one. You guys and gals and everything in between have 1 minute. The Sinister Porpoise asking, if Philip wants to do better in debates, he must use language lay people understand. Using obscure technical language doesn't make him right. It makes him incomprehensible.
That's true, Reid.
Spicy.
I just
coming
want to say
for you.
That is true.
To me, that's just a claim because I assume James here understood most of the words, if not all of the words I presented today. Am I correct?
The words, it's just the way that you sandwich them and layer them on. It can be a little hard to follow sometimes, but I think I generally get the gist of what you're trying to say. But that's only because we've been talking we've had several dozen interactions. I think I'm starting to be able to decode it. If it was the first time I'd ever talked to you, it might have been a little harder to understand, you know?
I can grant you that's based off, yeah. Wait, that's my
Your
response.
delivery style is unorthodox. It's not how most people deliver or convey information.
To me, that's just a claim.
Well,
And all right.
I think most would agree with it, but yeah.
Matasaro asks, if male is the most dominant, why do men call women bossy as a negative? Sounds to me like she is the true gender of the Lord.
God would have all multiple personalities, hence modalistic I wouldn't apply that. He can
He's not
have
bipolar.
I forgot what that means. Some mental illness or something?
Yes.
Or claimed mental illness?
Is God mentally ill?
No.
Does he see things that aren't there? Does he have conversations with things that don't exist?
I would say no. You would have to ask God these sort of questions.
Does he stick inappropriate things into electrical outlets? Or toasters?
I don't know. I don't know.
Have you read the English Parliament actually had to do a report about the early 1900s, you know, after the advent of the vacuum cleaner, because a lot of men were injuring themselves with the vacuum cleaner in some very compromising ways. It was actually causing injury to lots of guys over when the vacuum cleaner was invented.
And all right, I think we are going to begin to close out.
Cleaner in that way.
We're probably going to let you have the last ultimate, because so many of the questions, I would, not want to at least let you have the final word. And so with that, we're going to actually give it over to you, James. We have been debating Me Brah on Atheist versus Presuppositionalist. It's been a fun back and forth and a fun Q&A. But what are your final thoughts?
Well, Philip, in all seriousness, I don't know whether you're serious or not. I go back and forth by the day. Sometimes I think yes, sometimes I think no. Either way, I'm just going to assume that you are. So I just want to thank you for at least coming on, and if you do believe this, dialoguing with us. And glad to have you as part of the channel, and hope you come back another time.
And all right, thank you so very much, James W., for your closing statement. And Philip, the final word is not only yours, but tell us, where can people find you and what are your final thoughts?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel titled YouTuber Ultimated Judeo-Christian. It is the same avatar here on the stream. There were two other points. They're just slipping my mind.
Some about the thigh gaps?
No, that's right. If you want to verify my identity of being an ultimated Judeo-Christian, then ask God. So I'm not a troll. I'm very serious with this. Ask God, and either He can reveal to you through His eternal power, special revelation of some sort, that I am His best loved kin. So, lastly, I've won this debate defaultly regarding a God in general first. If we shifted to which God, then that can be left up for interpretation by judges because not everybody would have the same reading comprehensibility to understand the Bible. So I will conclude there.
This conversation is being recorded.
It is? Is that Mossad? Anyway, thank you so very much, YouTubers. Sending love out there. Also, Peter from Gonna Go Get It. My brain, you should be checking out R and Ra, Atheist Jr., all the stuff that he produces, but you should be also checking out the after show, which is going to be at the Discord. I set the Discord in there just a second ago, where we are looking to do more things. There
was one last thing I wanted to add.
Okay.
If I'm happy enough to return, I'm happy enough to debate anyone who is against the Bible. That's my main focus. So proving the Bible. That's my top priority over evolution, flat earthism, etc.
I think Amy would like to debate you on evolution. I think we've kind of just beat
I'd love to.
presuppositionalism into the ground.
Yes, I will say this will conclude our trilogy of debates probably on this subject for a little while. I'll do presupposition again, but I think we each had a knock and we had one more before this. But we want you to, Philip, to come on and do more topics, including, hey, maybe Christianity, maybe about evolution. And we're also looking for
flat Earth. Even you want to debate the flat Earth?
Flat Earth or whatever. And yes, I'm sending multiple links in there. I can't help it. I'm getting so prepared. Here we go. There is the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server. We should all be going on for the after party. And we will also, there is my Fiverr if you'd like to get produced and you would like to have your own channel or your own content get made and you just need help getting it created or help towards monetization. Go check out that. You should find in the description below our friend here. Philip's channel is listed in the description, as well as our channel members, and as well as a fantastic, just a $2 right down here.
Thanks, Sinister.
Sinister Porpoise says, please have him debate a logician. Yes, that would be very...
Do you think we could find one who would stay on for more than 30 seconds without being paid?
No, but maybe. Got to go to those back alleyways where
B-grade magician,
they're sitting there doing, come on, man, I just do pseudocode. Hey, you can't do pseudocode around here. What are we talking about? Anyway,
he works on Linux.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. We only accept Mac here, Mac operating systems, as I say, using Windows. Anyway,
Peter, check your Discord.
Go check. Yes. Well, we want to have Peter back on. I think Peter would be a fantastic debate interlocutor. Yes, we need to get him. But this is going to conclude. We're going through our normal rigmarole for here. Boo. Please don't forget to go on twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. Thank you, all our followers. Thank you to all of our subscribers at YouTube. Right here is Amy Newman. Channel members, we have an evolving badge system. We're going to get Ultimated to debate our badge system right here on this channel, as well as the best way to help us, that's right, is by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. We're almost at 200. We're trying to hit our thingy. Woo! Get some unique perks, as well as, like Mark Reid said, it was a fantastic idea. You're going to see
those are channel benefits, by the way,
mic.
not Percocets. Don't get excited. Yeah.
Percocets. No, Percocets are right over here, baby. Anyway, what were we talking about? All right, yes. Patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman. Good night, Subaru, Guitar, and Regos, and Ozzy, Sage, Purple, Pieta, everybody, Doorknob Head, Stephanie, say goodnight to us, and we'll say goodnight to you. In the ending, do I have the thing? Yes, I do. It goes boom. Not the right one. No. Let's try this one more time.
Oh, she's got the thing already.